Hello, my noble band of outlaws. Outlaw Samurai coming at you live with a video. Well, if you saw from the title of the video, this is going to be the first, well, technically second of the promised hunting-related videos. And what better way to start than with the quintessential equipment every hunter needs. And by this I do not mean camouflage clothing, that comes second. Because there's a whole debacle on camouflage clothing, patterns, brand loyalty, etc., etc. To give you an example, in the hunting community, the brand loyalty that some people will go to is ungodly extreme. Like my great-great-grandfather, for example, used only Realtree first edition original plaid camo, and it's like, oh, but that's inferior to the one my great-great-great-grandfather used, which was mossy oak original pattern turquoise or whatever. But the quintessential equipment for every hunter, in my opinion, starts with a backpack. Obviously, camouflage black works as well. You can even go solid blaze orange. But what tools does one require? Well, these camouflage Realtree backpacks, I believe, go from anywhere from $15 to $20. They're not that expensive, mainly because they're not that big and they don't hold that much. So, the first expensive piece of equipment is you're going to want a good pair of binoculars. These are my Bushnell binoculars that I use for hunting. You'll want a decent high power pair if budget allows. If you're on a tight budget, then I would pick up Bushnell. They're usually fairly budget friendly. I think these were sub $100, below $50, which is reasonable budget range for binoculars, especially ones that work this well. They'll usually come with a cleaning cloth, these protective covers that I highly suggest you keep, and also a how to care for manual. Sometimes they'll come with additional protection plans. I never bothered registering mine, so I didn't get the additional protection plan. I rarely ever do. Unless it's something I know that is going to have a high probability of breaking, I never go with extension plans. After that, the next quintessential piece of equipment you'll want is a good skinning knife. This is just a cheap mossy oak stainless steel skinning knife with a gut hook. Now the reason you want this design is mainly because of the gut hook. It gets its name because, well, obviously when you're gutting a deer, you can use this to cut some of the diaphragm muscles if you really want to, but most of the time hunters will actually just make an insertion on the deer with the tip of the knife, flip it around, and pull on that exertion. And this flat back basically allows you to open the hide like you're opening a zipper. Again, this is just a cheap stainless steel mossy oak skinning knife. It'll get the job done with a gut hook. I got this in the 3-pack. These are not... The way you can really look at the quintessentials of a hunter is basically, do you pay for glitz and glamour or do you pay for functionality? I can either buy ungodly expensive shit and it will still work. It won't make me any better or worse at doing the actual gutting and skinning. Or I can buy something cheap that I I screw it up, or if I chip the blade or something similar in the sword world, I'm not going to cry over the $500 loss. After your binoculars and your knife and your backpack, the next quintessential, and this is all passed down from knowledge in my family, you'll want a hatchet. And the hatchet serves multiple purposes. A, if you're going to be camping out hunting, or you're going to be hunting for long periods of time, processing firewood comes to mind. But the main thing you're going to use the hatchet on is actually to break open the rib cage. And that is by basically hacking through the sternum, allowing you to open up the rib cage and get access to the deer's organs easier. It's bloody, it's savage, but my father always told me always carry a hatchet in your hunting bag, so that's why I carry a hatchet. And again, you can. This is just a cheap Ozark Trail $14, $15 hatchet I picked up from Walmart. Made a little cover for hunting hatchet. Next. Now, I would consider this both a quintessential item and a bit of a luxury item. And that is your calls. Buck call, for example. Obviously, for drawing in the bucks, the does, it can work on a doe. A doe may think that you're a mature buck in heat, and then you also have a fawn call that can work on attracting the does. Personally, the way I was always told to hunt is I only do it for meat. And my philosophy is you could show me a 300-point monster, but it'd be skinnier than fucking vegans. Which is kind of ironic considering deer are vegans. But in any case, you could show me a fucking deer with a 300-point rack, but skinnier than Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. Or you could show me a deer fatter than Fat Albert from the original cartoon show. Or, in this case, a doe. And which one am I going to shoot? The fucking fat-ass doe is what I'm going to shoot, because that's going to have more meat than the skinny-ass buck with nothing but horn on top that I don't feel like going through the laborious process of grinding into a protein powder. For those of you who don't know, you can grind deer antlers into a protein calcium-rich supplement powder. It's a whole process of a lot of grinding and drying. Now, that we've covered binoculars, knife, hatchet, and what I consider both a quintessential plus luxury of a deer call. And the reason I call it a luxury is in some states you can actually hunt over feeders and feed piles, which you don't necessarily need the deer calls for then, because the food's already attracting them. My state doesn't let me do that, unfortunately. We can plant food plots in Indiana, but as soon as hunting season goes around, we can't touch them anymore. Or you have to stop tending them at least a month before. I don't know, I've never planted a food plot. I haven't looked into that legislation yet. So, we covered that. The next item that is also quintessential, a flashlight. Now this thing doesn't have to be the most powerful 10 billion watt lumen flashlight you can get your hands on. This little Ozarka Trail flashlight is just perfect. Something I would recommend to be just durable, strong, and won't break easily. If you have the money to splurge, you could also get this Bushnell 1500 lumen flashlight that also has a black light for tracking blood. This one is a bit of a luxury that I bought. It has a black light that lets you track blood. I mainly use it for when the power goes out. But yeah, with hunting equipment, you can always go for cheap, usable, or fancy luxury. The next item that I want to draw attention to is getting into the personal stuff for a little bit. Duct tape. And I know what you're gonna say, oh Outlaw, when will duct tape ever come in handy? You can make rope with this shit. You can make rope with this. And you can use that rope to pull a deer out of the damn woods. Or if you have to, let's say you get injured in the woods and you don't have a first aid kit, which I do not have in here, but that is probably something I should get, but never mind. Let's say you don't have a first aid kit, but you have a roll of duct tape. You can just literally close the wound off with duct tape using it like a tourniquet. You're putting the duct tape in here for one purpose, and that is convenience and usability, in my opinion. You never know when a roll of duct tape will come in handy. Redneck logic and hunter logic go hand in hand. Next, these are just a couple of doodads I keep in here. This is a binocular, and this is like a compass magnifying glass thing that I bought because it was like $3 a couple of years ago. So we have the compass magnifying glass thing that in theory you could use to start a fire with. You have the kind of mini binoculars, which I'm not exactly sure how the hell you look through this thing, because you also have a signaling mirror. And the most important aspect is the compass, which is the only really thing I'd use. So if you're in the woods and you know, like say, you're over at your friend's house, your friend has a shit ton of property, really deep forest, and you know your friend's house is due north from where you're at, and you don't remember where the hell due north is, just pull this out and boom. Now this, on the other hand, is what is called a binocular. And unlike binoculars, which have two looky holes, this one only has one looky hole. It's nowhere near as powerful as a full-size binocular. This is 430 feet at 1,000 yards, meaning that if I look at something from 1,000 yards away, this is going to make it look like it's only 430 feet away from me. At least that's how that math's in my head. This was given to me by my grandfather on my mom's side, along with my recurve bow. I've used this a lot and I've looked through it a lot, but I keep it in here mainly as a backup to the binoculars in case something happens to them while I'm hunting, and I still have something that I can use to look at long range, plus a cleaning cloth. Always keep a cleaning cloth with your telescopic lenses. Another item that I put in here just because I like to be prepared, a simple survival kit. This Guidesman survival kit, which I've actually done a review of the channel on, that I got at Menards. They usually sell this around Christmas. Has a lot of doodads in it, some fire starters. Mainly this is mostly just fire starters and a few odds and end tools. I've kind of cannibalized all the useful shit and put it in my bushcrafting bag, which I may do a video on that too someday, if I've not already done it. Yeah, as you can see, we have a water bottle carrying thing, reflective blanket, fire starter wax rods that you only have to strike a couple of times, shitty little pole chainsaw, a survival fishing kit, not bad, survival whistle, compass, fire starter whistle, survival bracelet, fire starter rod, combination fork spoon knife thing. The most useless multi-tool ever designed, but I keep it in there because, who knows. A knife design that I absolutely fucking hate beyond reasonable measure, which is the half serration, half straight blade knife, but this also has a seatbelt cutter and a glass breaker, so functionality. Can't always get what we want. Yeah, I've mostly cannibalized everything useful in here. Plus, if I just ever decide, I can just take all this shit out and use this thing as a case for other important crap. Now we get to another luxury item that you don't need, which is a fillet knife. And you're probably wondering, Outlaw, why would you have a fillet knife? Simple. Skinning. If you've ever tried to de-skin flesh, especially taking off silver skin or doing meticulous work with a thick, rigid knife, you know how difficult that is. The thin, flexible blade of a fillet knife allows you to do more detailed work and get around certain areas easier than if I was to use a straight-ass rigid knife. Then we also have this little thing that I threw in there. Again, I fucking hate the way it has half serrations, half regular edge, but this knife is also designed, if you take the paracord off, to be able to be tied to a stick to use as a survival hunting spear. Plus, it has a ferro rod on it, which is the fire starter rod that I mentioned before, as we can see. So, yeah, it's really only in the bag. Because of the fact that it can be used to start a fire if I need to. I have a lot of fire starting shit in here, as I'm now noticing. Again, not a quintessential item by any means, but a luxury item nonetheless. Rubber gloves. Because, yeah, blood and internal organs and guts and other things that I don't really want to come into contact with. I'm pretty sure a lot of people feel the same way about that. Also, it just helps keep your hands cleaner and you don't have to worry about getting blood all over your gear as badly. Oh, there's the last glove. Next, not necessary, but definitely well worth it. And no, Outlaw is not taking any notes from Spotto. For those of you who don't know, he's some sort of Australian guy who does car content and cusses a lot. This is a face mask to keep your face warm. I'm aware that the giant hole right here may be counterintuitive to that process, but you can always throw a bandana on underneath if you need to. Plus, this was given to me by my grandmother, so I kind of keep it in there just because. And finally, again, luxury item, but you need to keep your fingies warm, because we like warm fingies. A good pair of camouflage gloves with the ability, for those of you who are phone hunters, to scroll through your TikToks while you watch the 20-point buck or the 30-point buck walk completely underneath your stand and you're oblivious because you can't stop scrolling. And last but not least, this. Now you may be wondering, Outlaw, what is this? Is this another hand warmer, perhaps? We thinks? I mean, I'm pretty sure it could be used as such in a pinch if you had to, but no. This is a type of arm guard. This is only prevalent because I prefer hunting with a bow, but this style of arm guard is designed to go over the top of the sleeve of your hood, of your hunting jacket, your hoodie, etc. And it's designed to keep the poofy sleeve from interfering with the bowstring as it snaps forward. But yeah. So, we've covered the cost of the backpack. Keeping some rubber gloves on hand. Plus a few odds and ends. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, Outlaw, you have 1, 2, 3, technically 4 different knives with you. Don't you think that's a bit excessive? Not really. Especially since you don't know what's going to happen. This may chip, it may break. If that happens, I'll have to switch to another knife. I always like being prepared. My motto is, if I have to carry a few extra ounces or maybe a pound or 2 extra weight, but that item that I'm carrying that's extra weight will come in handy, even if I don't know it will come in handy, I'd rather have it than not have it. I work off of the condom and gun principle. I'd rather have both and not need them than not have one and need the other. But, in any case, my noble band of outlaws, what did you think of my hunting bag? Anything you would change? Anything you would alter? Those ultralight backpacker guys would probably have a heart attack seeing all the shit I carry at once. There was one other thing that I forgot to mention in this video that is also quintessential for any hunter, and that is scent killer. Now, for those of you who don't know what scent killer is, it is a product made for hunting, whether it's shotgun, rifle, crossbow, compound bow, recurve, muzzleloader, spear, blowgun, hula hoop, what have you. And what it does is it's essentially a completely odor-blocking, deodorizing formula. Not like deodorant, not like your grandpa's Old Spice. As the name implies, it is designed to kill your scent or mask it. There are many different brands of scent killer. There's Scent Away, there's Dead Downwind. My family's always used Scent Away and Dead Downwind in conjunction. And the way you want to use it is fairly simple. First, you want to buy the body wash, which there is a body wash, there's body wash / shampoo. There's also deodorant in stick form that can be applied. There's also the detergent, which is used to wash your camouflage hunting clothes and everything that you're going to wear. And then there's also the spray, which you spray on yourself when you get to the field, and you spray on your blind, you spray on your tree stand. Basically, there is no such thing as enough scent killer, basically. It basically makes it so that you are not so that your scent is not carried by the wind and a deer smells you and you get busted. Let me know what you think down below, my noble band of outlaws. I may brave the notoriously dangerous Walmart sporting section to make a video on scent killers because I don't have any at the moment. But let me know what you think down below, my noble band of outlaws. Until next time, Outlaw Samurai tells all y'all be crazy rednecks, be safe and use your weapons. I'm out. Peace.